we will have the reading of the law. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. Okay, go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Now let's go into Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Read verses 13 and 14. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Now let's go into Revelation chapter 22. Read verses 14 and 15. Go ahead.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
So, sisters and brothers, that's the reading of the law. And the reason, especially, I put the Revelation in it, that's the last book in the Bible. That's a message to people that say you don't have to keep the law. If you want to get into the New Jerusalem, the Father's kingdom, you got to keep the law. It's all that simple. Like when the man asked Jesus, what should he do to get eternal life? He told him to keep the commandments. So that's why the Lord put it on my mind to have his law, like it always was in Israel, to be read every Sabbath day. Because the world has forgotten about the law. That's why homosexuality is eating the world up like cake. Because don't nobody deal with the law no more. It is something how the Lord has called everything that's going to take place on this earth through prophecy. Now, this lesson, title of this lesson is Two Mountains of Brass. Two mountains of brass. These mountains represent government, sisters and brothers. I mean, big, and in this case, it's Eastern Europe and Western Europe. And we're going to show you that the West is going to attack East, Russia and her allies. We're going to show you that. But I always think of why would the West attack the East? Now, looking at what Russia is doing to Ukraine, and all of the Western nations are lining up behind Ukraine because Ukraine want to be a part of the United Nations, and the West have a bone to pick with Russia, because Russia's really beating Ukraine up. So I'm seeing now what's going to happen. Because usually everybody telling Russia attacking, Russia attacking. No, this time the West is going to attack Russia and her allies. But I can see what's going on. Because you have somebody in the East want to join the nations in the West. And Russia said, even though Russia's army on the ground is not doing as good as people expected, but he is tearing them to pieces with rockets and drones. And the West are mad. And this, what we're going to deal with today, I really expect it to happen in our days, sisters and brothers. So we're going to start this lesson in Zechariah, the 1st chapter. Because the Lord called it by his prophet. And the Lord said, surely he wouldn't do nothing but reveal his secrets to his prophets. Because Zechariah chapter 1. Zechariah chapter 1. And we're going to start reading at verse 7. 1 and 7. Okay, go ahead.
Upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is Mount Sebet, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddu the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood upon the myrtle trees that were in the bottom.
Go ahead.
And behind him were their red horses, speckled and white. Then said I.
Now this is 4 horses all together, okay? It's always 4 because these 4 horses, and we're going to show you they come in other form, represent the ones that keeping this earth under wraps. Because God is controlling this, sisters and brothers. But go ahead and read.
Verse 9. Then said I, O my Lord, what are these? And the angel that talked with me said unto me, I will show thee what these be.
Go ahead.
And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth.
Seeing these represent these 4 angels, sisters and brothers, that the Lord is keeping this earth under control. Otherwise, this man would break out and commit mass suicide on one another. But he can't do it, because he got these 4 guys, these horsemen, which are angels, and they come in other forms, and we're going to show it to you. They are controlling this. This is what people don't understand. God is in control. Go ahead and read.
And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees, and said, we have walked to and fro through the earth. And behold, all the earth sitteth still and is at rest.
No, he said all of the earth is still and is at rest. Sure, we have some things going on, but nothing world threatening yet. But once the angel saw that, first thing he thought about is Israel, which is not at rest. Wherever we are in turmoil. Go ahead.
Then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah?
Now, the angel looked, you say all the earth is at rest and sit still, but what about Judah and Jerusalem? How long will you not have mercy on Judah and Jerusalem? Go ahead and read.
Against which thou hast had indignation these 70 years.
He said, from the indignation that you had against them for these 70 years. Now we're going to find out what these 70 years are. But this angel was compassionate with the Lord, because he said, how long? The whole earth is at rest. Everybody's doing okay, but not Israel. You know why? Because God said he's going to do something to us. And he's going to destroy Judah, and Judah's going to be taken over for 70 years. But we're going to show you it goes beyond that. But let's look and see what 70 years he's talking about. Because during this time, he said that the Lord have indignation against Jerusalem. So we're going to go into Jeremiah, the 25th chapter. Jeremiah chapter 25. See, people have been so beat up with people telling good stories until they don't know what God is doing. God is telling you in his book, I'm doing something now. You better be ready for it, because if you're not, you're going to fall somewhere where you don't want to be. And we have to pay attention to prophecy. I don't care what it looked like, sisters and brothers. The Lord didn't call this thing. So now the angel wanted to know how long will you have indignation against Israel that you've had these 70 years? 25 and 1. Go ahead and read.
The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah.
Go ahead.
That was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. The which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying.
Now, Jeremiah, the Lord sent Jeremiah to Judah and all of Jerusalem and prophesied to him and saying what?
From the 30th year of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Judah.
Go ahead.
Even unto this day, that is the 23rd year, the word of the Lord hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but ye have not hearkened.
He said, look, the Lord has sent me to you. From Zedekiah, that's the last good king we ever had, sisters and brothers. Even to this day, I have been rising up early and speaking to you, but y'all have not listened. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them.
Go ahead.
But ye have not hearkened, nor incline your ear to hear.
So he sent all the prophets. See, the Lord tried everything he could to keep from hurting us, sisters and brothers. He said, but he sent all the prophets rising up early, but still you will not listen. So here come the consequences. Skip down to verse 8. Verse 8 and go ahead.
Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, because ye have not heard my words,
go ahead.
Behold, I will send and take all the families of the north,
go ahead.
Saith the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant.
Now look what he said. Because you were not here, I'm going to bring all the kingdom from the north. That's Nebuchadnezzar and all his minions, sisters and brothers, because you will not hear. And what he called Nebuchadnezzar, his servant. Oh, you mean Nebuchadnezzar served God? No. You don't understand, sisters and brothers. If God wants you to do something, he tell you you're going to do it, and you're going to do it. I don't care whether you believe in a matchstick. You understand? Remember years ago, people asked because the king of the east, Russia's going to be God's servant.
Right.
I remember the brothers asked me years ago, you mean Russia's going to believe in God? No. Russia's going to do what God tell him to do. Just like he hardened Pharaoh's heart.
That's right.
And wouldn't let him know. And he wanted to let Israel go, but the Lord wouldn't let him let Israel go until he collected from Egypt. So he said, Nebuchadnezzar, his servant, go ahead and read.
And will bring them against this land.
Go ahead.
And against the inhabitants thereof.
Go ahead.
And against all these nations round about. And will utterly destroy them.
Go ahead.
And make them an astonishment. And in hissing and perpetual desolation.
Go ahead.
Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones and the light of the candle.
Now this is Israel now. He's saying going to bring Nebuchadnezzar down and take everything from us. Ain't going to be no wedding. Ain't going to be no parties. Ain't going to be nothing. I'm going to take it all from you. By the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead and read.
And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment.
Go ahead.
And these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
So this is the 70 years that the angel was talking about. He said, I'm going to take this whole land and it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be a desolation. And it's going to be desolate for 70 years. Now, so let's go back and look at when this started. We're going to go and look at the last king that we have ever had. That's in 2 Chronicles, the 36th chapter. This is the last king that Israel ever had was the king of Judah, sisters and brothers. Since then, we have no king. I see some of the Hebrew brothers and sisters walking around calling one another king and queen. King of what and queen of what? You're embarrassing yourself and me too. So that's the whole thing, sisters and brothers. The Lord said, hey, he's going to do this, and he is going to take you down. So we're going to look at the last king that Israel have ever had, and we haven't had one since. 2 Chronicles chapter 36. 2 Chronicles chapter 36. And we're going to start reading at verse 11. 36 and 11. Okay, go ahead.
Zedekiah was 120 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem.
Now this Zedekiah, he's the last king we ever had. We haven't had a king since then. And he only lasted 11 years in Jerusalem. Why? Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God.
That's why he didn't last for 11 years.
Right?
Because he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord God. Don't you know, God made Nebuchadnezzar broke a deal with Zedekiah.
Yes.
So he would keep Jerusalem. He would have a nation where we can always say like the other people say, the old country. We'd be able to point to Jerusalem. But Zedekiah wouldn't do that.
No, he wouldn't.
Because the covenant that Zedekiah broke with Nebuchadnezzar, God told you he's the one that broke that covenant. But go ahead and read.
And humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God.
So he rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God.
Yes.
By his God. And what happened? Go ahead.
But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel.
Go ahead.
Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen.
Go ahead.
And polluted the house of the Lord, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem.
Even the priests got caught up in that foolishness.
Yes.
And started following other gods, the same gods of the nation, sisters and brothers. And it got to be too much for the Lord, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place.
He didn't want to do it. We forced God to do this to us. Go ahead and read.
But they mocked the messengers of God.
Ain't that something? They mocked the messengers of God. And we got brothers, Hebrews in the streets right now embarrassing us by hollering at people and getting foolish. Eve had two groups fighting against one another. But they talking to the other people like they did to us. No, your God did this to you. He sent his servant. What you do, you mocked his servant, sisters and brothers. Made fun of him. Go ahead and read.
And despised his words and misused his prophets.
Go ahead.
Until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, so there was no remedy.
Until it got to the point where the Lord said, ain't no turning around now. Ain't no turning around. I got to do something to you. Ain't nothing you can do now to stop what I'm going to do to you. Go ahead and read.
Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees.
That's Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead.
Who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary.
Go ahead.
And had no compassion upon young man or maiden.
See, that's what happened when the Lord brings somebody on you. You kill everybody. And whoever they don't kill is going into captivity. People don't understand war. Go ahead and read.
Old man or him that stooped for age, he gave them all into his hand.
I mean, he told Nebuchadnezzar, all of them yours. And the one that you don't kill, what we're going to do with them? Skip down to verse 20. Verse 20. Go ahead.
And them that had escaped from the sword, carry he away to Babylon. But there was service to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
So you're going to go to Babylon and you're going to be in Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar's hand until the Persian Empire. Go ahead and read.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah.
Go ahead.
Until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths, for as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath.
So that's the only time that he's going to keep the Sabbath. As long as she stay desolate until what? Go ahead.
To fulfill 70 years.
So they had to do it for 70 years because the Lord already called it. I'm going to do this to you.
Yes.
And you ain't going to go back to your land till 70 years. Well, sisters and brothers, Daniel read this. But Daniel lived the entire 70 years. And Daniel, by reading Jeremiah's writing, he knew that something was missing here. Because he saw Babylon come to an end. And it didn't come to an end the way the prophet Jeremiah said it. And Daniel being a prophet, he know that the Lord called prophecy, and it's going to happen just like it's supposed to happen. So let's go into Daniel's the 9th chapter, because Daniel saw that no, this didn't happen like this. Because the Lord said he's going to take Babylon down also. Daniel's the 9th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 1. Because Daniel's got the reading, Jeremiah's writing, there's something wrong here. Something is not fitting. So when you see something you don't understand, you know what you do? You pray for understanding.
Yes.
Believe me, it works, sisters and brothers. Instead of trying to put your spin on it, take it to the Lord. Daniel's 9, and we're going to start at verse 1. Daniel's 9 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years.
Now, he said, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years. Yeah, Daniel was reading the writing of Jeremiah.
Yes.
Because Jeremiah was before Daniel. So what Daniel did, he was reading Jeremiah, and by books he understood what he understood. Go ahead and read.
Well, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet.
Go ahead.
That he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem.
That he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. Daniel's lived through that, sisters and brothers. He saw it. Because Cyrus was the one that let Israel go back. But Nebuchadnezzar didn't come to an end like Jeremiah said he was going to come to an end. And all this stuff had to happen. Go ahead and read.
And I set my face unto the Lord God.
Go ahead.
To seek by prayer and supplication. With fasting and sackcloth and ashes.
Now, so he started to pray for understanding.
Yes.
And while he was praying, what happened? Skip down to verse 20. Verse 20. And go ahead.
And whilst I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God, for the holy mountain of my God.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation.
So now while Daniel was praying for understanding, the Lord sent Gabriel, which is the spirit of truth.
Yes.
So he touched him in the evening about the time of the evening sacrifice. That's what the oblation is, sister and brother. God dispatched it because God knew that he was seeking to understand what he had read. Go ahead and read.
And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding.
So now Gabriel was a Holy Spirit, sisters and brothers. And when this Holy Spirit come to Daniel, Daniel didn't fall out on the floor and kick and tremble.
No, sir.
He said, he informed me.
Yes.
In other words, he's going to tell me what's going on. Go ahead and read.
At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth.
Go ahead.
And I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved.
Go
Therefore,
ahead.
understand the matter and consider the vision.
He said, I've come to show you. So I want you to understand the matter and consider the vision. Go ahead and read.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people.
Now, he dropped something else in there, didn't he?
Right?
We were dealing with 70 years. All of a sudden, this angel said, Gabriel says 70 weeks are decided upon that people. That's why Daniel knew something was wrong. Because that's 70 weeks of years, sisters and brothers.
That is right.
Instead of 70 years, that's 490 years. But look what he said have to happen. Go ahead and read.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city.
Go ahead.
To finish the transgression.
Go ahead.
And to make an end of sins. And to make reconciliation for iniquity.
Go ahead.
And to bring in everlasting righteousness. And to seal up the vision and prophecy. And to anoint the most holy.
That's a lot of stuff, ain't it?
Yes.
Daniel didn't say nothing. He didn't see that happen even though he lived there. to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin. What did he mean, finish the transgression and make an end of sin? We're still doing it. But since the blood of Jesus, sisters and brothers, we can make an end ourselves. Stop doing it. That's what he's talking about. And bringing everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Who is the most holy?
Jesus.
Jesus. That's why Daniel was praying. He said, I read all this stuff in Jeremiah. I didn't see none of this stuff. Go ahead and read.
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks.
Go ahead.
The streets shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times.
So who is Messiah, the Prince? Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus came a long time after Daniel.
Right.
But Jeremiah wrote about it.
Yeah, he did.
Go ahead and read.
And after 62 weeks, shall Messiah be cut off.
So when Messiah got here, he got to get cut off. When? In the midst of the week. What does it mean? He died, sisters and brothers. He was crucified.
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
But not for himself.
But he didn't get crucified for himself. He did it for our sins. That's what he means, making an end of sin. Go ahead and read.
And the people of the Prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined.
And that's why everybody go here to get the 7-year tribulation. This is not talking about tribulation.
Not at all.
This is talking about Judah, Jerusalem, the Jews, and the Messiah. That's what it's talking about. And he's going to come and he's going to get cut off in the midst of the week. And also, the people of the prince are going to come and destroy the city. Who are the people of the prince? The Romans, sisters and brothers. In 70 AD, they destroyed Jerusalem down to the ground. That's about 40 years after Jesus. Give or take a year here or there. But go ahead and read.
Verse 27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
And when Jesus comes, not the Antichrist.
Right.
When Jesus comes, he's going to confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. That's 1 week of years. That means 7 years. Go ahead and read.
And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease.
What happened when Jesus died on the cross? The veil ripped from top to bottom. That was the end of animal sacrifice.
That is so right.
So, Daniel didn't see none of this. Go ahead.
And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation.
Go ahead.
And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
And that's determined shall be poured upon the desolate, sisters and brothers. They said a desolator. 2 different sets of people, ain't it?
That is correct.
So now, what the angel told Daniel here, it took us all the way down to Jesus the Messiah until the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. See, Jerusalem never had a king after Zedekiah, but they went back. Cyrus let them go back after the 70 years to rebuild Jerusalem and the house of God. Cyrus was the doing. And Daniel saw all of that, and Daniel said, no. Well, I was looking at the taking down of Babylon, and it did not happen the way Jeremiah said it would happen. Now let's go back to Jeremiah, the 25th chapter. Jeremiah chapter 25. See, it's something you read prophecy, and you living in the prophecy, and you know when something's out of order. But you can know when something's in order just like you know something's out of order. Just like we're looking at the European Union over there, the 10 nations. The Lord said, in the days of each king shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. So when I say, I think I can be around till Jesus comes, I'm not saying it because out of emotion. I'm talking prophecy. In the days of these kings, we looking at them, sisters and brothers, if you know what you're looking at. Jeremiah 25, and we're going to start reading at verse 12, because Daniel was reading this. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished,
And it shall come to pass when the 70 years are over, go ahead,
that I will punish the king of Babylon.
then I'm going to punish the king of Babylon at the end of the 70 years.
Yes.
And we're going to see how he's going to do that. Go ahead and read.
And that nation, saith the Lord,
Go
for
ahead.
their iniquity, and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolation.
Go ahead.
And I will bring upon that land all my words which I have pronounced against it,
Go ahead.
even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah hath prophesied against all the nations.
So all the things that I have prophesied against Nebuchadnezzar, I'm going to bring it to pass. I'm going to do it. Go ahead and read.
For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also.
Pay attention to this, sisters and brothers.
Please.
For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves on Babylon also. That means a whole lot of nations. That's how Babylon is going to be taken down. But go ahead and read.
And I will recompense them according to their deeds.
Go ahead.
And according to the works of their own hands.
So I'm going to do them what they have done to my people. But how is he going to do it? By the hand of many nations, sisters and brothers. So let's see how how Babylon ended. Because Daniel saw it. That's why Daniel wasn't praying. So we're going to go back to Daniel, the 5th chapter. We're going to see Daniel was there. He saw it, sisters and brothers. He saw the end of the 7 years. And he saw the changing of the gods from Babylon to Medo-Persia. Daniel saw all of this. So that's why he started praying. Because he said something is missing here. Jeremiah spoke about many more things that's going to happen. Jeremiah spoke about greater things than what happened when Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon came to an end. At this time, Nebuchadnezzar had died and his son had taken over. So we're going to start this in Daniel 5 and verse 1. Daniel 5 and 1. Okay, read it.
Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000.
Go ahead.
Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the gold and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem.
Now, to let you know this boy was stupid. He shouldn't have went there. So he's going to go and get these holy vessels that Nebuchadnezzar took, but Nebuchadnezzar just piled them up somewhere. He wasn't going to do nothing with them. This boy got caught up in his liquor, and he did something stupid. That's what happened when you get caught up in your liquor.
Right.
He's going to go and drink out of the holy vessels.
Right.
With his entourage. Go ahead and read.
That the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein.
Go ahead.
Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them.
Go ahead.
They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone.
Because that's what the Gentiles worship, sisters and brothers, material stuff. Not the very God that hold their life in his hand. Go ahead and read.
In the same hour came forth the fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace.
Go ahead.
And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote.
Now, all of a sudden, they're on there cavorting and drinking out of the holy vessel in the hand, and some fingers of a hand popped up. Poof. If that don't get your attention, what will? Then it went on across and rolled on the plaster of the wall. When Nebuchadnezzar, when Belshazzar saw that, he sobered up quick.
Yeah,
Go ahead and read.
Then the king's countenance was changed,
Uh-huh.
and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loose, and his knees smote one against another.
You scared when your knees knocking?
Oh, yeah.
I guess my knees would be knocking too if I saw something like that. So what did he do? He called in his wise people. Skip down to verse 8. Go ahead.
Then came in all the king's wise men.
Go ahead.
But they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof.
See, these are the people that's supposed to be in the know. Like when this prophecy starts going down, they can call in all the preachers that said that Jesus rose on Easter Sunday morning. They won't get nothing from them because they don't deal with prophecy.
No, they don't.
They couldn't answer. Skip down to verse 11. So they had to send for somebody else. And the only reason he knew about it is because I guess the old queen, one of the queens of Nebuchadnezzar came and said, you got a man in your kingdom that know about this stuff. Skip down to verse 11 and go ahead.
There is a man in thy kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And in the days of thy father, light and understanding and wisdom.
So you don't know about this guy? Go ahead and read.
Like the wisdom of the gods was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar, thy father, the king, I say, thy father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers.
You mean you don't know about this guy? Your father made him the master over all these people. But you know why they didn't know about him? Because he was a captive. Things started jumping off in Europe. I know, I'm looking at it. You think somebody going to come ask me, what's going on, Brother Boyd? They're going to go like the guy, the Billy Graham's son. Billy Graham is dead. Yep. And they're going to go to some of the big Gentile preachers. And they're going to get the same results. Nothing.
That is right.
So they call in Daniel. Daniel's had the answer. Skip down. Did you finish 11?
Yes.
Skip down to verse 17. Verse 17 and go ahead.
Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let thy gifts be to thyself.
Because he had promised to give him a gold chain and third rule in the kingdom. Real servants of God ain't concerned about that kind of stuff, sisters and brothers. He said, let your gift be to somebody else. Give your reward to somebody else. Go ahead and read.
And give thy rewards to another.
Go ahead.
Yet I will read the writing unto the king.
But I'm going to tell you what's going on. Okay? So I'm going to read this writing unto the king. Go ahead.
And make known to him the interpretation.
Now I'm going to make you known to you what's written on that wall. Here it comes. Skip down to verse 25. Verse 25. And read it.
And this is the writing that was written. Many to kill a farcing.
Go ahead.
This is the interpretation of the king.
Now this is the interpretation of it. Go ahead.
Mean, God have numbered thy kingdom and finished it.
Many, God have numbered your kingdom and finished it. Go ahead.
To kill. Thou weighed in the balances, and I found one.
He done put you on the scale and you come up light.
Yes.
You are lacking. Go ahead and read.
Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians.
Mister, he's giving your kingdom away while you sitting on the throne.
That is right.
And I'm going to show you how quick he did it. Skip down to verse 30. Verse 30, and go ahead.
And that night was Belshazzar.
And next week.
And that night.
Month from now.
And that night.
And that very night, sisters and brothers. That very night. Go ahead.
And that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. And
so he sent somebody there and assassinated him that very night. I show you, God will send assassinate you too if you get mad, if he get mad at you. Go ahead and read.
And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old.
So now Darius took over the kingdom. That was the end of the Babylonian kingdom. It changed from Babylon to the Medo-Persian, because Darius was the Mede. Daniel saw that.
Yeah, he did.
But Daniel read in Jeremiah that Babylon was going to be taken down by many kings. That's why Daniel started praying. I didn't see this. So the Medes and the Persians didn't take down Nebuchadnezzar by force. It was inherited. Big difference. So now, when you look at this, first thing you can say the Bible contradicts itself. No, the Bible went from 70 years to 70 weeks, didn't it? From 70 years to 490 years. That's what the angel brought to Daniel. So let's go back to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and we're going to show you, confirm how the Lord is going to take down Babylon. But then, if that's the case, then we have to look for another Babylon. This is what people don't understand. Back in the old days, they used to teach that America was Babylon. And I told them, look, America is so insignificant in prophecy, it's not even mentioned. That's hard to hear being an American.
Right.
Being we're supposed to be the great power of the world. No, the great power is sitting on the throne.
That is right.
He is manipulating the powers. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet.
So this is that's why the Lord said, what Jeremiah said he's going to bring upon Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead and read.
Declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard.
Go ahead.
Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken. Baal is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces.
Darius didn't do that, didn't it? It just said he inherited the throne.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
From out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast.
Wait a minute. Babylon is northern kingdom, but now you got another king out of the north going to come against it. Who is that? That's north of Jerusalem, sisters and brothers. What is north of Jerusalem? East and western Europe. Out of the north. Another kingdom gonna come. Go ahead and read.
In those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, and they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their God.
Now, show you another key. Only Judah went back under Cyrus. But it's telling you at this time and in that time, Israel and Judah gonna come back.
Yes.
The whole nation have not gone back to the land since the Assyrians took out the northern kingdom, the 9 tribes. And the only one that came back under Cyrus by the hand of Ezra and Nehemiah. But this time, at that time, he said, the Lord is going to bring all of Israel back, Judah and Israel. Go ahead and read.
They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come, and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
They're going to ask the way to Zion then. That's Jerusalem. So this time we're going to get under that covenant. We ain't going to break it no more.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
You got some guy on the internet talking about Israel ain't never been lost. What did the book say here?
My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
That's what's wrong right now with these Israelites. He don't read, he don't understand, but he get out there and run his mouth. Our people have been lost sheep. And their shepherds have caused them to go astray. Who are the shepherds? Guys that's standing where I am. Go ahead and read.
They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place.
They have forgotten. You know, where you from? I'm from Mississippi. No, I ain't talking about Mississippi. Where you from? Oh, I'm from Africa. You don't know that you are from Israel. And you here in America, you are from Jerusalem or Judah. So why? We have forgotten our resting place. Go into them Sunday church tomorrow and say that you're a Hebrew Israelite. Don't you know y'all Israelite? Get on out of here. We Gentiles. Why is they going to tell you that? Because they have forgotten their resting place.
That is right.
They don't even know who they are. What verse?
We are at verse 7.
Go ahead.
All that found them have devoured them.
How many devoured them?
All.
That's why I tell these brothers, you're going to rail on the white man. Don't you know that our first slavers was Egyptians?
Yes.
Look just like us. Moses passed as Pharaoh's grandson. When we left Egypt, we went into fighting with the Canaanites, all black. Just listen to the black history, and I'll show you how some of them Hamites, what they did to Israel. By the time the Gentiles, or the so-called white man, showed up, we had so many lumps on us from Ham, he couldn't find a pot to put another lump on us. We don't read, we don't investigate, we just run our mouth.
That's it.
We have done what the Lord said. Israel have become soothsayers like the Philistines. Go ahead and read.
And their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord.
So don't nobody feel like they're doing nothing wrong, because we done sinned against God. That's your adversaries. How many? Everyone that found you. What verse?
We are at the end of verse 7.
Finish it.
The habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their father.
Go ahead.
Remove out of the midst of Babylon. I go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flock.
So this is what the Lord is telling Israel, remove out of the midst of Babylon. The way you remove right now is get away from this Babylonian teaching, which come by way of Rome. But then when the time comes, when it's time to flee to the wilderness, if your head is in order and you're all right with the Lord, you'll know it. Then you can physically remove out of the midst of Babylon. Like got people right now, when we going to Africa, I'm going to Liberia, some going to Ghana. That is the land of Ham. The part that God didn't give you.
That is right.
Your condition have not improved. You've gone from one oppressor to another.
That's it.
You don't think they'd read up on what the Lord did to the Hebrews, what the Nigerians did to the Hebrews. Look what Ethiopians did to the Danites. Look what's going on in Sudan right now. What verse?
We are at verse 9.
Go ahead.
For, lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country.
Wait a minute. How many nations?
Of great nations from the north country.
He will cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations. How many great nations took down Babylon in the days of Belshazzar? Not even one. Darius inherited the kingdom. So he's going to call to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations. What verse?
We are in the middle of verse 9.
Go ahead.
And they shall set themselves in array against her.
Go ahead.
From this she shall be taken.
Go ahead.
Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
Go ahead.
And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord.
That's when the Lord is going to spoil Babylon. It's called a Chaldea. That's when he's going to spawn them, sisters and brothers. Skip now to verse 16 and continue.
Cut off the sword from Babylon.
Go ahead.
And him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest.
Go ahead.
For fear of the oppressor's sword, they shall turn every one to his people.
Go ahead.
And they shall flee every one to his own land.
It's going to get rough, sisters and brothers. Then everybody's going to turn to their own people, and everybody's going to flee to your own land. Where you fleeing to? Think about it. The German going to be going to Germany.
Right.
The French going to be getting to French.
Yes.
Italian going to be on his way to Italy. Where you going to be on your way to? Africa? You don't even know what part you was taking off. Go ahead and read.
Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away.
The lions have driven him away. Go ahead and read.
First the king of Assyria have devoured him.
Who was the one that took out the north kingdom, sisters and brothers? Assyria. Took the 9 tribes. Because remember, Levi came back to Judah because the king that took over the 9 to 10 tribes, who was that, Jehoiakim? So the Assyrians took the 9 tribes out. Go ahead and read.
And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have broken his bones.
And last, the king of Babylon has broken his bone. Since Assyria took out the 9, and Babylon have took out the 3, we've been nothing but captives, sisters and brothers. We've gone from slave owner to slave owner. It might not be chattel slave, but you're still a slave. You're under somebody else. Go ahead and read.
Verse 18. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria.
He said, I'm going to punish the king of Babylon and his land just as I have punished the king of Syria. Assyria was a black nation. Do y'all know that? Do you know, anybody know where Assyria is now? Because the Lord then erased them as a nation. Syria is not Assyria. Syria are Ishmaelites, Arab. Assyria are Hamites. The Lord said, I'm going to do to you, Babylon, just like I did to Assyria. So where is Assyria now? Don't nobody know. Because they've been erased like a mistake on a piece of paper. Skip now to verse 41. Verse 41. And go ahead.
Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth.
He keep talking about many kings going to be raised up from the earth. Many kings. What do you mean from the coast of the earth? That means they're going to be at the end of the earth. When you step out of Russia, where you at? You are in Alaska. Now you're in the West. Don't you know that? Most people don't understand. They can jump in a boat and go from east and west in a couple of hours. The coast. And then Russia going to have everybody east of the Euphrates with him. Go ahead and read.
They shall hold the bow in the lands. They are cruel and will not show mercy.
Go ahead.
Their voice shall roar like the sea.
Go ahead.
And they shall ride upon horses. Every one put in array, like a man to the battle, against thee, O daughter of Babylon.
See, so the Lord, Daniel didn't see this. That's why he prayed. I didn't see none of this stuff. Skip down to verse 46. Verse 46 and go ahead.
At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations.
So when this Babylon go down, the earth is going to be moved. And you're going to hear a cry among the nations. What happened when Darius took over the old Babylon? An inheritance. The nations wasn't shaken. There was no cry. God had him assassinated and gave it to the Medes and the Persians.
Right.
That's why it's called the Medo-Persian Empire, because the Mede was the first that took over. So, don't nobody hear no cry of nations, sisters and brothers. So what Babylon is? This is the Babylon that's called Babylon the Great. What other name they're in our day? The European Union. They ruled in all of Western Europe, these 10 nations, sisters and brothers. Babylon the Great. The Lord is the one going to take them out by the hand of his servant, the Russians. But he's going to have to intervene, otherwise there ain't going to be nothing left. Let's go into Revelation, the 17th chapter. Because these are northern kingdoms. Gonna come from the end of the earth. What end? The eastern end, sisters and brothers. But you can't go further than Russia. And all those guys, all those nations are going to be under the tutelage of Russia. Now I understand why the West is going to attack Russia. Because Russia said, hey, everything on this side of the Euphrates is mine. You can't have it. Before I let you cross over to the West, Ukraine, I will blow you off the map. And he's doing it. But why won't America go over there and start to send soldiers? No. Lord ain't going to let him do that. This ain't your fight. Send weapons, do whatever you want. Can't go. Revelation 17 and verse 1. 17 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials.
Go ahead.
And talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Oh, why the Lord called the great whore? Because Babylon comes, Babylon the Great going to come with a great religion too.
Right.
You know, the Roman Empire used to be just the Roman Empire. But then at the fall of Romulus Augustus, I think there was about 400 AD, they come up with another emperor, but he didn't come up by himself. He came up with a holy man. Now the Roman Empire went to the Holy Roman Empire. The government and the religion was intertwined. Don't you know all of the Western nations in the European Union are Catholics?
Yes.
Had one that was a Protestant, which was England. Yep. And I guess what, about 40 years I've been telling y'all, close to 40 years, that England had to come out of the common market. Why? Because they are Protestant.
That is right.
They would not be governed by the whore that sits on many waters.
Right.
The Catholic Church, which is intertwined with the government. Go ahead and read.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
All the kings of the earth have committed fornication. When they go to Italy, they go and see Papa.
That's it.
And kiss the rain. Go ahead.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
What is that? Bad religion. Who told you that Christ rose on Easter Sunday? The whore. Who told you that your mother's in heaven smiling down on you? The whore. Who told you that Sunday is the Christian Sabbath day? The whore. And tomorrow you're going to see a whole lot of drunk people.
Yes.
Have been made drunk from the wine of her fornication. Go ahead and read.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness.
Go ahead.
And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy.
Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now that's the Western European nations that's running it.
Yes.
See, the whore don't come by herself. She come riding this beast. And actually one that's riding, that's the one that's really controlling, and people don't understand that. Don't you know, sisters and brothers, there was a great big controversy when Kennedy became president of the United, was running for president of the United States. You know what the big argument was? If we elect this Catholic, the Pope is going to run America. The mic gone? What about it? Okay, now, is it still on? All right, then. But think about it. I don't know if any of you was old enough to remember that. There was a big argument over that. A big argument saying that, look, if Kennedy become president of the United States, the Pope going to run the United States. He's going to be the real thing, real ruler. Why? It's because this Babylon, sisters and brothers, is intertwined with the government. He's going to call it, and they're going to see it. Go ahead and read.
Verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
Go ahead.
And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of a fornication.
That's all that bad doctrine. Go ahead, and the world have drank from it. But go ahead and read.
And upon her forehead was a name written.
And what is that?
Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and the abominations of the earth.
Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots.
Yes.
That's why she even called herself the mother church. But she don't come alone. She come riding this beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. So this is the Babylon that the Lord's going to take down that Jeremiah talked about. Babylon the Great, European Union, and all of the ones that's under that tutorage. But go ahead and read.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
Go ahead.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Jesus died under the Roman Empire, didn't he?
Yep.
And they killed a lot of saints, sisters and brothers. What do you think the Inquisition was about? They think it was against Gentiles killing Gentiles killing Israel. Because they wanted to get rid of the old order of Christianity, which started with us, and install a new order of Christianity, which got everybody worshiping on Sunday.
Right.
But go ahead and read.
And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel?
Go ahead.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns.
He said, why are you marveling at this?
Right.
I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you, but we ain't going to concern ourselves with the woman. You understand? Because she come with the beast. So we're going to deal with the 10 horns. Because that's what's going to be the rulership and the makeup of Babylon the Great, sister and brother. So we're going to skip down to verse 12. Because we know who the woman is, I just told you. The other lesson, I can show it to you so clear that you can see it if you was Ray Charles. But we're concerned with the 10 horns.
Yes.
Because the 7 heads is the system that it came out of. First head, Nebuchadnezzar. Second head, Medo-Persia. 4 more heads, the Greek Empire. There's 6. And the 7th head, and the 7th head is the Roman Empire. So this European Union came out of that old system. That's why everybody that joined the European Union have to sign a treaty that's called the Treaties of Rome. It's the resurrection of the old Roman Empire or either Babylon the Great. Because remember when you saw that statue, sisters and brothers, you had started with Nebuchadnezzar, the 10 toes ended up with European Union, but you notice they was all connected. One statue, didn't come in pieces. I call it the Gentile dynasty. But what verse?
We are now at verse 12. We're going to skip that.
Go ahead. Verse 12. Go ahead.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
Now, they have done it now, but they had not received no kingdom as yet, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Because you're going to have a man that they're going to make king over them. And that 1 hour is 3.5 years. We got a lesson to show you that. The beast, you got the beast, which is a nation, and the man that's going to run it is also called the beast. Go ahead and read.
These have one mind.
They got one mind.
And shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
That's why I knew England had to be thrown out of the European Union. They had to get out of it because they didn't have the same mind as the other nations. Because they was Protestant. And they're going to give their power to the beast. Go ahead and read.
These shall make war with the Lamb.
Wait a minute. They're going to make war with who?
With the Lamb.
That's beyond our time, isn't it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings.
Go ahead.
And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
So this is even after the first resurrection.
That is right.
Daniel saw all of this stuff. And he knew something ain't fitting here. I got to go to the Lord. I got to pray to the Lord concerning this because something is not right here. Go ahead and read.
Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
So that means that this religious part of it rule over the whole planet, don't it?
That's right.
People talking, well, you know, Russia's atheists. They showed Catholic churches in Russia, Central and South America, Africa, many waters, who are people, nations, and tongues. All that simple. So what Babylon are we talking about taking down, sisters and brothers? Babylon the Great.
Yes.
Which is the European Union. Jeremiah wrote about this. And when Daniel was living that 70 years, at the end of that 70 years, he didn't see any of this stuff. That's why he started praying to the Lord for understanding. Because the Babylon that we're dealing with is under a new name now, the European Union. Now let's go back to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Jeremiah chapter 51. And it's coming down the way the Lord called it, sisters and brothers. It's coming down the way, because the Lord controlled this thing. I remember how mad they got at me in Washington Park when I said that Satan worked for God. What? They don't understand. If he was on his own, there wouldn't be no creation left.
That is right.
It would be over with. We wouldn't be sitting here.
No, sir.
Jeremiah chapter 51. And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Jeremiah 51 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me.
Go ahead.
A destroying wind, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about.
Wait a minute. In the day of trouble?
Right?
What is the day of trouble? The time of the great tribulation.
Yes.
The Lord is dating this, sisters and brothers. That's why I tell people, you need to get some understanding of the overall book, then you will recognize a message when the Lord give it to you. In the day of trouble, he going to do this to Babylon. Go ahead and read.
You want to skip down?
Skip down to verse 6. Verse 6 and go ahead.
Flee out of the midst of Babylon.
Say it again. Flee out of the midst of Babylon. Where you going? Mr. and Mrs. Negro. Flee out of the midst of Babylon. Go ahead and read.
And deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity.
Go ahead.
For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense.
The time of the Lord's vengeance.
Yes.
Ain't that what they said? In Revelation, the 6th chapter, when they said, for the mountains and the rocks that fall on us.
Right.
Hide us from the wrath of the Lamb. For the day of his wrath is come. This is talking when Jesus comes. Get out of her. First you get out of her by learning the word of God, and you will know that the Lord have an escape route for his people. He always had it in every generation. But you have to be with God and able to recognize it when it's time to go. Go ahead and read. What verse?
We are at verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand.
Oh, so the whole nation's been a golden cup.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
That made all the earth drunken.
So the Lord allowed her to make us drunk. Go ahead and read.
The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad.
They're going to be real angry. I mean, they got an end. Going to have an end for Babylon. Go ahead and read.
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take bond for her pain.
Go ahead.
If so be, she may be healed.
But she can't be healed. Go ahead.
We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. And let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky.
So where you going? Skip down to verse 11. Go ahead.
Make bright the arrows. Gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes.
Wait a minute. Who are the kings of the Medes? The Lord is telling us. And ain't nobody paying no attention. He's going to raise up the spirit of the Medes, the kings of the Medes, and Russia and all our allies. Go ahead and read.
For his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple.
Look, sisters and brothers, the Lord showed us how he operates. It was Darius the Mede that took over from Babylon through inheritance. Now it's going to be the Medes and the similar nations going to take Babylon down. The Lord is making it easy so you will know the order of things.
Yes.
Medes came after Babylon. Now the Medes are going to come after her again because the Medes are going to take her down, but we're going to be in the process of taking her down. The Lord is going to have to intervene because if he don't, ain't going to be nobody left. What verse?
We are now at verse 12.
Go ahead.
Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes.
Go ahead.
For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon.
Because the Lord said, I'm going to do everything I said. Go ahead.
O thou that dwellest upon many waters.
Oh, so you see who we're talking about, don't we?
Right.
Thou that dwellest upon many waters, that's the nation and the nation's religion. Go ahead and read.
Abundant in treasures.
Uh-huh.
Thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness.
He said, your end is come. It's time for you to go, Babylon. It's time for you to go. Let's go into Revelation, the 18th chapter. Revelation chapter 18. Because the Lord had weighed Babylon in the balance and found her wanting. But this time he's going to give her kingdom to the saints because he's going to take down his Eastern European, Russia, and all of them at the same time because the Lord is going to come and deal with this. But let's start at Revelation 18 and verse 1. 18 and 1. Okay, read it.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
Go ahead.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitations of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Because Babylon is going to fall, sisters and brothers, but it's going to fall by the hand of the Eastern Kingdom, which is Russia and her allies. Go ahead and read.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Go ahead.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Uh-huh.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy.
Now, she's going to live good for a minute. Go ahead and read.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Lord, keep telling you, come out of her. Because when I start busting heads, if your head is there, I'm going to bust it too.
That is it.
So you better move your head. Come out of her, my people. Go ahead.
That ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague.
Because if you are in her, and you take partakers of sin, going along with this falsehood, then you're going to take part of her plague. And I mean, when them Russians come against Babylon, sisters and brothers, they are not going to be easy on nobody. Let's go into Isaiah, the 13th chapter. That's why the Lord tells, just think of the law and the testimony, the law and the testimony. Speak not according to that, there ain't no light in them. That's true. You get these New Testament Christians, look what they've done to the world, sisters and brothers. They've hid all of this stuff that we are reading about, which is future prophecy, from the people. They've hidden all of this stuff that's going to happen. It is going to happen. Believe me, it is going to happen. 13 and 1. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 1. Read it.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles.
So this is the burden of Babylon. Go ahead and read.
I have commanded my sanctified ones.
Uh-huh.
I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger.
Uh-huh.
Even them that rejoice in my highness.
Wait a minute. He done commanded his sanctified one. We're talking Russia here. You mean Russia is sanctified? Yes, he is. God called them sanctified. That'll let you know that these people don't have a clue what sanctification means. It means they have been separated and set apart for a specific thing, a specific job. That just show you how dumb the world is. You would, well, the sanctified, they think you're holy and you jump around and follow. That means you have been separated and set apart for something that God wants you to do. So this sanctified one, he got a job for him. Those that's going to rejoice in the Lord's highness. What you mean the Lord's highness? If they have to put, no, they're going to rejoice in the high position that God is going to put them in.
That's right.
The highness is the Lord's.
That's right.
They don't know it's come from the Lord. They think it's come from their strength. Think about it. Go ahead and read.
The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together.
The kingdoms of nations, more than one, ain't it?
Right.
Gathered together. These are everybody east of Euphrates River belong to Russia. And Russia's telling the world, Ukraine is mine. And they ain't going to let y'all have them. Because they're east of the Euphrates.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
Who gonna bring the battle up?
The Lord.
Didn't them angels, ain't the ones that's keeping everything calm?
Yes.
Who you think they working for?
The Lord.
Go ahead and read.
Verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
When it's at the end of heaven, earth is the first heaven, sister and brother. Don't you know that people don't know that there's three heavens? Earth, the heaven he's talking about here is here, and from the end of heaven. When you step out of Russia, you done stepped out the east into the west. Go ahead.
Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand.
Oh, it's the day of the Lord.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It shall come out of destruction from the Almighty.
Uh-huh.
You want to skip down?
It's going to come from the Almighty, sisters and brothers. It ain't going to come from the nation. It's coming from God. Skip down to verse 10 and read it.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
Lord is giving you another sign. The stars in the heaven, constellation thereof that shall not give a light. Go ahead.
The sun shall be darkened in its going forth. And the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
That's letting you know what's going to happen during the taking down of Babylon.
Yes.
Skip down to verse 13 and go ahead.
Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. In the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger.
He said he's going to shake the heaven and the earth is going to be removed. When? When the Lord brings his wrath in the day of his fierce anger, sisters and brothers. The day of his fierce anger. The Lord has some great big trouble coming here, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And it shall be as a chase road, and as a sheep that no man taketh up.
You know what a chase road is? That's talking about a deer being chased by wolves or something, okay? People read that and don't know what that means. As a chased roe. In other words, it's deer running for his life because them wolves are going to make dinner out of it. And a sheep that don't nobody take up. Go ahead and read.
They shall every man turn to his own people and flee every one into his own land.
He keep telling you where you going. Go ahead and read.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes.
That's why the Lord telling you, you better come up out of her. They don't care nothing about your children.
No, sir.
Go ahead and read.
Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished.
Yes, that's why you better move it. Go ahead and read.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them.
Oh, so we know who's doing this to them, don't we? The Russians. Go ahead.
Which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
You ain't going to be able to buy them off. I don't care how rich the country is. Go ahead and read.
Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb.
Wait a minute, that's the baby.
Yeah, it is.
You mean they're going to kill the little baby?
Yes.
Yes. And you got people sitting up in churches talking about peace. You don't have a clue of what's coming. Go ahead.
Their eyes shall not spare children.
No, sir. Go ahead.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
How much of Sodom and Gomorrah did God leave?
He tore them down.
He took them all down, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Now let's go into Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Remember the Lord talking about the sun, moon, and all that stuff. The Lord giving you all kind of clues. And ain't nobody paying no attention, sisters and brothers.
No, sir.
Because don't nobody read the Old Testament. And the ones that read the Old Testament, they cherry pick it. Better read it all. Because this God we dealing with, he got something in store for you, and you do not want to have it. Jeremiah chapter 51. That's why I tell people all when they get in trouble, Lord, have mercy. As he had mercy, he told you what not to do and what to do, and you didn't do it. So you kicked his mercy to the side.
Yeah, you did.
Now when the drama comes, now you want to have the mercy. God gave you mercy how to avoid the drama. All you had to do was listen. But we got a hearing problem. Jeremiah 51, and we're going to start reading at verse 24. 51 and verse 24. Okay, go ahead.
And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord.
So Nebuchadnezzar did a lot of evil. The Babylonians did. Now the children are going to pay for it, sisters and brothers. Skip down to verse 27. Verse 27, go ahead.
Set ye up a standard in the land.
Uh-huh.
Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Iraq, Minnie, and Asenath.
Now check these out. These are all Eastern kingdoms, sisters and brothers.
Right.
Eastern countries. You're talking about Ararat. That's where the ark rested at. That's east. Minnie and Asenath. Go ahead and read.
Appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars.
Go ahead.
Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion.
Now, that's what it is. So like Ukraine is the land of its dominion. And they trying to take it away from him? God gave me this, and you can't have it. He don't know that. But he said, this is mine. Let's go into Zechariah, the first chapter. You read the last verse there?
Yes, sir.
Zechariah chapter 1. Because the Lord, here is where the Lord had these angels. They keeping this thing in order, sisters and brothers. These angels showed up in different forms. But when you got some understanding, you know, anybody that know what a rose look like, you can recognize it no matter what they call it. That old saying, a rose is a rose under any other name. Zechariah 1, and we're going to start at verse 12. 1 and verse 12. Because the Lord is showing him what's going on. Because the angel asked the Lord, how long will you have this indignation against Judah for these 70 years? For he turned it into 70 weeks. And look what the Lord said, verse 12. Go ahead. And the angel said, rather, verse 12, go ahead.
Then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah?
Go ahead.
Against which thou hast had indignation these 10 years.
Now, let's see him answer the question. Go ahead.
And the Lord answered the angel that talked with me with good words and comfortable words.
Go ahead.
So the angel that communed with me said unto me, cry thou, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy.
I mean, he's still jealous. Go ahead and read.
And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction.
He said, so I'm displeased with the heathen too. I'm mad at them. Because I was just a little displeased, but you have furthered the affliction. In other words, I should slap them around a little bit, but no, you knock them down, you stomped on them, kicked their teeth out, castrated the males, cut out babies. I didn't want you to do all of that.
No, sir.
What heathen? All of them. You have furthered the affliction. Go ahead and read.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies.
Go ahead.
My house shall be built in it.
Go ahead.
Saith the Lord of hosts. And a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem.
Now, this is what the churches don't want you to know. He said, I'm going to return to Jerusalem.
Yes.
On this earth. My house going to be built there. I ain't taking you to heaven. I don't want to stay there. Skip down to verse 18. Verse 18 and go ahead.
Then lifted I up mine eyes and saw, and behold, 4 horns.
Now he looked up, he saw 4 horns. You know how prevalent this 4 is all the time?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these?
Go ahead.
And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem.
So he said, what are these horns? He said, these are the horns that scattered Israel, Judah, and Jerusalem. What 4 horns are these that scattered Judah and Jerusalem? Let's go look at them. Let's go into Daniel's the 7th chapter. Daniel's chapter 7. The Lord put it all here, sisters and brothers. All you got to do is read it. So these 4 horns, these are nations, sisters and brothers. Just like he got 4 angels. But this time he's talking about the 4 horns that scattered Judah and Jerusalem. Daniel's chapter 7. Daniel's chapter 7. And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Daniel 7 and verse 1. Okay, read it.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed.
Go ahead.
Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter.
He wrote the dream and he told the sum of the matter. Go ahead and read.
Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night.
Go ahead.
And behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea.
This means that these 4 nations strode upon, come up, rule over the great sea, which are people. Go ahead and read.
And 4 great beasts came up from the sea.
From among the people. Go ahead.
Diverse one from another.
Now it's 4, sisters and brothers. Who are they? Go ahead.
The first was like a lion. It had eagle's wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. And it was lifted up from the earth. It may stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
That was Babylon, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side. And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh.
That's the Medo-Persian Empire. Remember Darius the Median took over when Belshazzar was assassinated? 2nd kingdom. Go ahead and read.
After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
Go ahead.
The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
That's the Greek Empire. All this is in the book that the Lord called me to write, the 4 winds of heaven. That's the Greek Empire. Go ahead and read.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible,
Go ahead.
and strong exceedingly. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
Go ahead.
And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Now, this is the 4 horns that scattered Judah and Jerusalem. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. And we are still under Rome because Rome is supposed to rise, fall, and rise 10 times. The last resurrection of Rome, which is also Babylon the Great, is under the name of the European Union now. Skip now to verse 13 and let you know, because we read that in the days of these kings, that these 10 going to make war with the Lamb. Didn't we read that?
Yes.
Go ahead and read verse 13.
And I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him.
That's why I got an old Israelite wit. Oh, man, I don't believe this pie in the sky, that old New Testament stuff. I brought him and ruled him and said, what is this talking about?
Jesus.
All I got was an open mouth. Who is one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven? It speaks for itself, don't it?
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away.
I mean, this guy here, he's going to rule this earth then, ain't he?
Yeah, he is.
He ain't sneaking nobody off to heaven. Go ahead and read.
And his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
Go ahead.
I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me.
Go ahead.
I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this.
He said, I want to see, what's this talking about here? Go ahead and read.
So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the theme.
Go ahead.
These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
We know it's talking about 4 kingdoms that shall arise out of the earth. Go ahead and read.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
Who are the saints of the Most High? The people in the first resurrection. What kingdom they going to take? Skip down and read verse 27. Verse 27. Go ahead and read.
And the kingdom and dominion.
And the kingdom and dominion.
And the greatness of the kingdom.
And the greatness of the kingdom.
Under the whole heaven.
Under the whole heaven. Not in heaven. Under the whole heaven. Go ahead and read.
Shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. Whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
So that's what's going to happen. So the Lord is controlling this thing. He's telling you what Russia's going to do to Western Europe. So let's get back to Zechariah, the 1st chapter. Because that's where we started this. Because this angel is telling it all, sisters and brothers. Back to Zechariah chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 20. Because he showed you what the 4 horns were. Those are the Gentile nations that scattered Judah. See, Hamite nations scattered the northern kingdom.
Right.
But the Gentiles started with Nebuchadnezzar, scattered Judah, or Jerusalem, or the Jews, as people call them. So, and he told Israel, Jesus told us that Judah going to fall by the edge of the sword, and they're going to be carried off into captivity until the chimes of the Gentile is fulfilled. He told us that. So we're dealing Gentile thing. Verse 20, go ahead.
And the Lord showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I, what come these to do?
He saw 4 carpenters. He said, what did they come to do? Go ahead and read.
And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah.
These 4 I told you, they are the horns that scattered Judah. But go ahead and read.
So that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles.
But these 4 carpenters here are come to do what?
To fray them.
To fray them and to cast out what?
The horns of the Gentiles.
The horns of the Gentiles. That means it's going to happen in the times of the Gentiles. Finish that.
Which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it.
Which did to scatter it. Sisters and brothers, Nebuchadnezzar took Judah down. And after the 70 years, Cyrus let Judah go back and rebuild Jerusalem and the temple. Then Jesus came, and after Jesus was crucified, then 70 A.D., the Gentiles scattered, like Titus scattered Israel all over the Mediterranean, and from there, he scattered us over here into the Americas. He said, so these are the Gentiles which lifted up their horns over the land of Judah to scatter it. They're the one that scattered it, sisters and brothers. But when it's going to come, but when we're going to be taken back? When the Lord comes. Let's go into Revelation, the 6th chapter. Revelation chapter 6. And we're going to start reading at verse 12. Revelation 6 and verse 12. Revelation 6 and verse 12. Revelation 6 and 12. Okay, go ahead.
And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal. And, lo, there was a great earthquake. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair. And the moon became as blood.
Wait a minute, this sounds familiar, don't it?
Very familiar.
Go ahead, because he spoke about this in Isaiah, the 13th chapter. But go ahead and read.
And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, which is shaken of a mighty wind.
Go ahead.
And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
Then it said that the taking of Babylon, the whole earth is going to be moved. Go ahead and read.
And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
Go ahead.
And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Then
the brother asked, they asked the question. Somebody asked the question. It might have been a question asked. I don't know. Will everybody see the Lord when the heavens roll back? I said, why do you think they're hiding and running?
Right.
And they said, from him that sat on the throne. Somebody saw him, didn't they?
That is right.
That's a long way, but you don't know the power of God. Go ahead and read.
For the great day of his wrath is come.
For the great day of his wrath is come.
And who shall be able to stand?
Then the Lord said, Babylon going to be taken down in the day of trouble. Ain't nobody going to be able to stand. Let's go into Revelation 7th chapter. And let's see what happened now. Revelation 7, and start reading at verse 1. Because the Lord is getting ready to come now. And Israel and the world have been on a hard time that's called the Great Tribulation. So the Lord ain't going to come and put more drama on his people. He's going to seal his people. Go ahead and read. That's in that area, not all over the world. And the people in the wilderness ain't going to need no sealing. Go ahead and read.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth.
Wait a minute. He said he saw 4 carpenters in Zechariah that's going to cast out the horns, right?
Right.
So now you got 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. Go ahead.
Holding the 4 winds of the earth. That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Now, you think you can number the winds? Have you ever been able to number the wind?
No, sir.
How can you number something you can't see?
You can't.
4 winds, we saw who they was. They're the nations. He's standing in between them. Go ahead and read.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east.
Go ahead.
Having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Go ahead.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea,
go ahead,
nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
See, these people will have gone through it, sisters and brothers, so the Lord said, I ain't going to hurt him, so he's going to seal them. Go ahead and read.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed.
Go ahead.
And there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
You know what the funny part of this? I think it's one of them religions. This is the Seventh-day Adventists. So this is the hierarchy in their church. Or is it the Jehovah's Witness? See, these are the hierarchies of the Jehovah's Witness. Was that case? You mean all of your top people was Israelites? Next time they tell you that, you tell them, don't you know your people, all of them are Israelites? They're going to argue with you, then you go and read it to them. They were sealed 144,000. What verse was that?
That was the end of verse 4.
Skip down to verse 9. And some more were sealed. Go ahead.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with the white robes and palms in their hands.
So now, the Lord had them angels holding back. Now let's go back to Zechariah the 6th chapter. Zechariah the 6th chapter. Angels are holding it, and they're standing right now, sisters and brothers. Otherwise, these nations would break out and wouldn't be nobody left. Lord ain't ready for that yet. Zechariah chapter 6. Zechariah chapter 6. And we're going to start at verse 1. Zechariah chapter 6 and verse 1. Zechariah 6 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots out from between 2 mountains.
Go ahead.
And the mountains were mountains of brass.
Now here come chariots coming out from between the 2 mountains. And we know it was 4. Go ahead and read.
In the first chariot were red horses.
Uh-huh.
And in the second chariot, black horses.
Uh-huh.
And in the third chariot, white horses.
Uh-huh.
And in the fourth chariot, gristled and bay horses.
Okay, so they was coming out from 2 mountains. Go ahead and read.
Then I answered and said unto the angel that talked with me,
Uh-huh.
what are these, my Lord?
Now, put it up on the screen. Show me these, what it's talking about here. These 2 mountains. Now, you're looking at this, sisters and brothers, you're talking about 2 mountains. There's East and Western Europe. You got them 4 angels standing there and holding them back. Because it's not time. So that shows you that the Lord is controlling this thing. Can't nobody do nothing until the Lord loosed them 4 angels. One you got Eastern Europe, and one you got Babylon, Western Europe. This is Babylon and her allies against Russia and her allies. Keep reading. What verse?
We are now at verse 5.
Go ahead and read.
And the angel answered and said unto me, these are the 4 spirits of the heavens.
These are the 4 spirits of the earth. Go ahead.
Which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth.
What did God made his angels what? Spirits. These are the same 4 angels that was mentioned in Revelation, the 6th chapter. The same 4. Go ahead and read.
The black horses.
7th chapter, rather. Go ahead and read.
The black horses which are therein go forth into the north country.
Go ahead.
And the white go forth after them. And the gristle go forth toward the south country.
Go ahead.
And the bay went forth and sought to go that they might walk to and fro through the earth.
Go ahead.
And he said, get you hence. Walk to and fro through the earth.
Uh-huh.
So they walked to and fro through the earth.
Go ahead.
Then cried he upon me and spake unto me, saying, behold, these that go toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country.
So how many kings we got in the north country? 2. East and Western Europe, north of Jerusalem. He said, they have quieted my spirit. They are holding them down because it's a hold back the 4 winds until I seal my servants, sisters and brothers. So now, once the servants are sealed, let's see what happened. Let's go into Revelation, the 9th chapter. Revelation chapter 9. Because once they seal, then the Lord's going to do something here. Revelation 9 and verse 1. Revelation 9 and 1. 9 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Go ahead.
And he opened the bottomless pit. And there arose a smoke out of the pit.
Go ahead.
As the smoke of a great furnace.
Uh-huh.
And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
So this angel come, and he going to energize the Western Europe, sisters and brothers, with their armies. Go ahead and read.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth.
Go ahead.
And unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power.
Go ahead.
And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads.
So now, in order to do this, you don't want to kill them. You just want to hurt them. Then it's either germ or chemical warfare.
Yes.
Go ahead and read. This is what the West is going to wage first. Go ahead.
And to them it was given that they should not kill them,
Uh-huh.
but they should be tormented 5 months.
Go ahead.
And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man.
So he didn't want them to kill him. You know what? Don't you know they have one of them little catechisms where it said pray for worship? The West want to put the whole empire back together like it was in the days of Nebuchadnezzar and Rome. So what they're going to do is they're going to join warfare. And they're going to do it because they're mad because what Russia is doing to Ukraine.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
Verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
Boy, that must be some powerful stuff, ain't it? But anyway, that is the West moving against the East.
Yes.
Skip down to verse 11 and go ahead.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit,
Uh-huh.
whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue have his name Apollyon.
Both of them mean destroyer, sisters and brothers. This angel is Satan, the devil himself, because he is the one that's going to do this. Remember when the beast come up in Revelation the 13th chapter. It says Satan gave him his seat, power, and great authority. This is his army, as well as the woman is his religion.
Right.
Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13 and go ahead.
And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
Okay, them four angels that was holding everything up, them four chariots that kept everything good,
right.
them four horsemen that kept peace and everything in order, the Lord said, loose them now.
Yes.
But are bound in the great river Euphrates, which separate east and western Europe. Go ahead and read. What verse?
We are now at verse 15.
Go ahead.
And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men.
Well, they're going to kill a lot of people, ain't they?
A whole lot of people.
The third part of men. Go ahead and read.
And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them.
That's 200 million soldiers, sister and brother.
Yes.
Russia can't produce 200 million soldiers. You got to use Russia, China, and everybody east of Ukraine to produce an army that big. Go ahead.
And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire.
Go ahead.
And of jacinth, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. And out of their mouths issued fire, smoke, and brimstone.
Well, it had to be something for you guys in John's day.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at this stuff, this modern warfare weapons. Go ahead and read.
By these three was the third part of men killed. By the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths.
See, them Eastern Europeans wasn't fooling around.
No, sir.
The West wanted chemical germ warfare and bring them under the banner of Papa. Restore the whole Roman Empire, or either to restore the whole Babylonian Empire. Who did Babylon rule over? Nebuchadnezzar? The whole world. Who did the Medo-Persians rule over? The whole world. Who did the Greeks rule over? The whole world. Who did Rome rule over? The whole world.
Yes.
They're trying to put it back together. But now, but Russia come by, they ain't got nothing in their mind about putting nothing together. They're going to kill everything they can kill. They kill a third part of men, sisters and brothers. A third part of men. Because that's Eastern Europe retaliating for what Western Europe did. Now let's go into Joel, the 2nd chapter. Joel chapter 2. Because once he loosed them four angels that in the river Euphrates, that means them angels got from between them two mouths of brass, and they come together in war. They come together in war, sisters and brothers. And when them Eastern European, when Russian allies come across, they had nothing in their mind about germ warfare.
Right.
They wanted to kill everything that can die. We read so they didn't even have no pity on the fruit of the womb.
That's right.
They killed the babies. They killed the little children. They killed the old men. We're going to kill them all. Joel 2:1. Joel 2:1. Because this trumpet here is the 6th trumpet. Go ahead and read.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
Didn't he say he's going to take Babylon down?
That's what he said.
You know, in the day of trouble?
Yes.
This is what he's talking about. Go ahead and read.
A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains.
Go ahead.
A great people and a strong. They have not been ever the like.
Go ahead.
There shall be any more after it.
How, in what war have you ever seen 200 million soldiers?
You haven't seen it.
Never. And ain't going to be that much after, and never happen again. Go ahead and read.
Even to the years of many generations.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
A fire devoureth before them.
Go ahead.
And behind them a flame burneth.
Go ahead.
The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. And behind them a desolate wilderness.
I mean, they're going to be destroying everything. Go ahead. This is Russia. Go ahead.
Yeah. And nothing shall escape them.
Go ahead.
The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses. And as horsemen, so shall they run.
Go ahead.
Like the noise of chariots on the tops of the mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble.
Go ahead.
As a strong people set in battle array.
Yes, sir. They will be. Go ahead and read.
Before their face the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness.
Go ahead.
They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his own ways, and they shall not break their rank.
That's why the Lord said, get out of Israel. Go ahead and read.
Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded.
There's going to be so many of them, you ain't going to miss them. Go ahead and read.
They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses.
Go ahead.
They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shine.
How many times that's going to happen?
One time.
One time. That's when the Lord getting ready to come, sisters and brothers. But you're looking at all the havoc that Russia going to call on Western Europe.
Yes.
It is all going to end up in northwest Jerusalem because he's going to bring them down to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. That's where the battle of Armageddon going to take place. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall utter his voice from it before his army.
Whose army?
Before his army.
Because that's who Russia's going to be. Go ahead and read.
For his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word.
Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
And that's what it said in Revelation, didn't it?
Yes.
His day have come, and who shall abide? The world is not ready for this, sisters and brothers. And the Lord is letting you know what time it is. So who are these guys? Let's go into Revelation, the 16th chapter. Revelation chapter 16. Revelation chapter 16. Because, sisters and brothers, there's some hard times coming on this earth, and all these people are going to be getting holy and happy tomorrow, and they don't know dangers right around the corner. I know it's around the corner because I'm looking at this European Union. I'm looking at these 10 nations, sisters and brothers. And the Lord tell you in Daniel, the 2nd chapter, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. And we are in the days, sisters and brothers, we are seeing it.
Yes.
Revelation 16 and 12. 16 and 12. Okay, go ahead.
And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
The water was dried up that the way of the kings of what?
Of the east might be prepared.
Who is east of the Euphrates River? Russia, China, and all their allies.
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast,
Go ahead.
and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
Go ahead.
For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty.
Oh, so the battle is the Lord's battle, ain't it?
That is right.
Go ahead and read.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
He says, I come as a thief. He won't come as a thief with us because we're going to be laying up in the wilderness, sipping Kool-Aid and looking at it.
Yes, sir.
He's going to come as a thief upon the world, sister and brother. But we got it. We're looking at it. All we got to do is wait for it to happen. Go ahead and read.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
So that's the war of Armageddon. He gathered them in a place called the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Because them 2 mountains are after one another, and one mountain is really taking out the other one. So let's go into Joel, the 31st chapter. Joel chapter 31. Because we are going to be land that the Lord said 1,000 going to fall out your right hand and 10,000 at your left, but ain't none going to come near you. Only with your eyes you're going to see the reward of the wicked.
That's right.
And I'm looking forward to that. People say, well, you don't wish for the Lord to come. Even the books, they don't wish for it, but I do. I'm sorry. I am tired. I look at what the homosexuality is doing. It's eating the landscape. Got the children confused. They don't know what they're doing. Brother was telling me he got young boys painting their fingernails. I said, if I see one, boy, you go ahead and get that stuff off your finger. You ain't no girl.
No, you ain't.
What you talking about? The sexes are confused. Go in the mirror and look at yourself. Ain't nothing confusion about that.
No, sir.
You are a man. Let one of them show in front of me with some lipstick, with some fingernail polish on his hand. Boy, you better get out my face.
That is right.
Joel 3:1. 3:1. Okay, go ahead.
For, behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem.
Now he letting you know this is the time when he gonna bring when he bring us back. Go ahead and read. What's he gonna do? Go ahead.
I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Go ahead.
And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel.
Valley of Jehoshaphat means the valley where Jehovah will judge. Who is Jehovah? Jesus. Go ahead and read.
Whom they have scattered among the nations.
And I'm going to bring them down and plead for them, for my people Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. Go ahead.
And parted my land.
And they done parted my land.
And they have cast lots for my people.
They done bid it for my people.
And have given a boy for an harlot. And sold a girl for wine.
So the guy have given a boy so he could sleep with a harlot. And if he didn't have no money, he gave a girl for wine. Go ahead.
That they might drink.
That they might drink. Skip down to verse 6. Verse 6 and go ahead.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border.
Now that's when people running around talking about, you know, the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans and the Native Americans are Israelites too. I said, who was sold? Who was enslaved?
Israel.
God gave you that as a sign, sisters and brothers.
Yes.
If you was not sold, and you was not enslaved here, you are not Israel.
That is correct.
The best you can become is spiritual Israel, then you still get the same that we get.
Right.
Because we are really spiritual Israel. The Lord adopted us, but he said we are his firstborn. That means that the rest of the sons of Adam are going to be adopted too. I want y'all to understand that. But I want you to understand now, until the rest of them are adopted, who are Israel? What verse are we?
We are skipping down to verse 9.
Skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war.
Now he said, proclaim these just among the Gentiles. Who is in charge of the world right now?
The Gentiles.
That's why he said, proclaim this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Go ahead and read.
Wake up the mighty men.
Go ahead.
Let all the men of war draw near.
Go ahead.
Let them come up.
Go ahead.
Beat your plowshares into swords.
Go ahead.
And your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak...
Skip your social program, armed to the teeth. Ain't this what everybody doing now? Go ahead and read.
Let the weak say, I am strong.
Go ahead.
Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Go ahead.
Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
He said, bring them here, then call your mighty ones to come down. That's going to be us in that first resurrection. Don't you know we're going to be in this fight?
Yes.
But go ahead and read.
Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Go ahead.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
Because that's what Jehovah, which is Jesus, is going to sit and judge all the nations round about. Go ahead.
Put ye in the sickle.
Go ahead.
For the harvest is ripe.
Go ahead.
Come, get you down. For the press is full, the facts overflow, for their wickedness is great.
Go ahead.
Multitudes, multitudes, in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision.
What did he call the valley of decision also? Because that's where it's going to be decided who's going to run this earth. Satan got us believing that God's going to steal us off the earth and take us to heaven. No, I'm coming here.
Yes.
And after this battle, it's going to be decided who's going to run this earth. Go ahead and read.
The sun and the moon shall be darkened.
There it is again. Go ahead.
And the stars shall withdraw their shining.
Go ahead.
The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and out of his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel.
So that's heaven of Zion he's going to roll out. And when he come, he's going to come kill it, sister and brother.
He sure is.
Because he's going to do them two mountains of brass. He's going to do both of them at the same time. Let's go over to Zechariah now, the 12th chapter. Zechariah 12. We're going to be out of here in a minute. Zechariah 12. Because I'm going to finish this lesson. Because you need to know what's going to come up on this earth so you can get your head in order. Because if your head is not in order and you don't flee out of Babylon, we've been reading what's going to happen to you. Zechariah 12, we're going to start at verse 2. 12 and 2. Okay, read it.
Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem.
He said, I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup of trembling.
Yes.
A cup of trembling. Everybody going to be trembling. And he's going to bring all nations against Jerusalem, because this is where the last battle is going to take place. Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9 and go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem.
This is the Lord said he will seek to destroy them. If he seek to destroy them, that's what he's going to do.
That is right. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplication.
Go ahead.
And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him as one mourning for his only son. It shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn.
They ain't going to be mourning because for his sake. They're going to be mourning for what he's going to do to them.
That is right.
He said, they shall look upon me whom they pierced. Let's go and see who that is. Let's go into Revelation, the first chapter.
Verse 11.
No, verse 11, read it. Go ahead.
In that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadoram in the valley of Megadon.
Now see, this morning ain't going to be the morning of the Israelites, because they ain't going to be there yet.
Right.
Because the Lord ain't bringing Israel back until he is on this earth. So it's going to be a great mourning in Jerusalem. Yeah, there's going to be some mourning, because he's going to be laying some plank on some heads, sisters and brothers. And it said it right here. Let's go into Revelation, the first chapter. Said that, and they're going to look up on me whom they pierced. That lets you know who's dictating this to Zechariah, don't you?
That is right.
Revelation chapter 1. Revelation chapter 1. The Lord has told it, has given it to us, sisters and brothers. He's given us the whole story. He said, call the end from the beginning.
That's what he said.
And ain't nobody bothering to read about it. And you're going to get caught up. Revelation 1, and we're going to read one verse, verse 7. Revelation 1 and 7. Read it.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him.
He coming with cloud, and every eye going to see him. I guess so. They're going to be running for the rocks. Go ahead and read.
And they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so. Amen.
And they that pierced him going to see him, and all the kindreds of the earth going to wail because of him.
Yes.
They wailing because of all the damage he's going to do to this earth. He's going to kill a lot of people, sisters and brothers. Now let's go back to Zechariah, the 14th chapter. Zechariah chapter 14. 2 more places after this. Because, sisters and brothers, the Lord laid it out here. He wants us to know this. Because you don't want to find out that the house is on fire when the flame got you all around and you can't escape.
Right.
You want to know it's on fire before it starts.
Right.
Zechariah 14 and verse 1. He said, he coming, every eye going to see him. Here he come. Go ahead and read.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoils shall be divided in the midst of thee.
Go ahead.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle.
Go ahead.
And the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished. And half of the city shall go forth into captivity. And the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
But Isaiah told you that about the houses tore up and the women raped, didn't he?
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle.
That's when he's going to personally intervene in this battle between these two mountains of brass. Otherwise, there wouldn't be nothing left to come to. Go ahead and read.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.
Because he's coming to his feet going to hit the last place it was before he left this place, left the earth. Go ahead and read.
Which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west.
Go ahead.
And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
Go ahead.
And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yeah, ye shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah.
See, these are the people, God's people going to be fleeing to him, the one that come through that great tribulation, because they will have gone through hell, sisters and brothers. But go ahead and read.
And the Lord my God shall come.
And the Lord my God shall come.
And all the saints with thee.
Because remember, Daniel told you the saints going to take the kingdom in it.
That's right.
The Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. And skip down to verse 9 and read it.
And the Lord shall be king over all the earth.
The Lord going to be king over all heaven.
That is wrong. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth.
And that is what the book says, sisters and brothers. He's going to be king over all earth. Go ahead.
And in that day there shall be one Lord, and his name one.
There ain't going to be one name then. Everybody going to have to deal with that. Skip down to verse 12. Verse 12 and go ahead.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
Go ahead.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
I call this when he's going to uncreate you.
That's right.
You understand? Man ain't ready for this. Skip down to verse 16. Verse 16 and go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King,
the
Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Now, every nation going to come up.
Yes.
And if they don't, what's going to happen to them? Go ahead and read.
And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
So the Lord ain't going to let them rain on their crops.
Nope.
If it don't rain on your crops, ain't nothing going to grow and you're going to starve, ain't you?
That is right.
This is when the Lord comes. Because the Lord, they're going to have to go up from year to year to Jerusalem to worship before the Lord, even Jesus, because the Lord had it written, he's going to sit on David's throne.
That is
So
right.
let's go into Matthew, the 25th chapter. Matthew chapter 25. All nations are going to have to come up, sisters and brothers. All of them. And Jesus made that clear. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. Okay, read it.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Then he's going to sit up on the throne of his glory, which is the throne of David. Go ahead and read.
And before him shall be gathered all nations.
Go ahead.
And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats.
That's during the Millennium period. If they don't come up, what's going to happen? No rain.
That's right.
So let's go into Isaiah. This is the last place. Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. Isaiah chapter 2. Isaiah chapter 2. Because right now, sisters and brothers, they're making preparation for these two mountains, East and Western Europe. They're going to come together.
Yes.
And it ain't going to be no pretty sight. And you done read that, so you know that. The world don't know that. Ain't nobody paying no attention to this. They don't believe that the Bible have anything to do with the affairs of men. When they read the Bible, all they can think is one thing: heaven. That's it. Isaiah chapter 2, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Isaiah 2 and 1. Isaiah 2 and 1. Okay, read it.
The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it.
That's the last days when the Lord comes. That's the government of God going to be established in the top of government, the governments, and everybody's going to flow to it. If they don't, they ain't going to get no rain. Go ahead.
And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord,
Go ahead.
to the house of the God of Jacob.
Go ahead.
And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths.
That lets you know that the world don't know what God is teaching, what God's saying. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have to say, let us go up to the house of God, and he will teach of his ways. Don't you know it's written that the Gentiles going to say, our fathers have inherited lies?
That's what the book say.
That's when the Lord is back. So he's going to teach us his ways. Go ahead and read.
For out of Zion shall go forth the law.
For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and it's still going forth the law. Nowadays, this modern day Christian, out of Rome, has gone forth the law. But that time out of Zion. Go ahead and read.
And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
He shall judge among the nations.
Go ahead.
And shall rebuke many people.
Go ahead.
And they shall beat their swords into plowshares. And their spears into pruning hooks.
Go ahead.
Nations shall not lift up sword against nation. Neither shall they learn war anymore.
They ain't going to want a war no more, because when the Lord showed them what war is like, it's going to be a bad taste, sisters and brothers. So I want y'all to understand, we are in these days, sisters and brothers. I'm looking at what the eastern mountain of brass is doing, getting his house in order. I see the western mountain brass and got their house in order.
Right.
Now I see they done came together and the tent is there. And the Lord said, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.